Hello, bookworms and storytellers. Welcome to Reader's Magnet featured author interview. Today, we're going to meet the mind behind this trilogy, Outlined Exile, as he brings us to the world of science and political fiction. Let's all welcome the author himself, Walter Clark Boutwell. Hey, Clark, welcome to the show.
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Very well.
Nice. So, Mr. Boutwell, you've proven yourself enough in Amazon by writing the book Outland Excel. Congratulations, by the way, for giving a shot. Your book is rated 4.5 star, has a 4.5 star rating in Amazon. It has 72 feedback so far, and it's really good, really good. Now, can you tell us about the book, Clark?
Well, the most dangerous thing in the world is to ask an author to describe his book. This could go on forever.
Hmm.
uh,
Right.
I started writing this just for my own interests.
Mm-hmm.
I travel in various countries, and I was in Ghana for several months. And to backwoods Ghanaian boys of a certain age,
Mm-hmm.
a middle aged white guy is really exciting. So one time a boy sang for me the Ghanaian national anthem, and it was, of course, in English. And I retaliated with the Star Spangled Banner. And while he was trying to recover, I mentioned that it had been composed during a battle America had
Mm-hmm.
with England. And he did a double take and
Mm-hmm.
said, America and England have been at war? And I went,
Uh-huh.
well, yes, we actually were at war twice. The first was our War of Independence. And, uh,
Right.
and he said, America hasn't always been free? And I said, well, no, we were a colony. Fact, we were a colony for 150 years, just like Ghana. And he said, no, 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 Ghana has never been a colony. Kwame Nkrumah declared the republic when I was this boy's age. Now, that set my mind in motion as to what could have prompted a society to so forget how it got to where it was that they no longer teach it. In fact, they teach something entirely opposite. Another, I'm in the medical field. I'm a physician. I take care of newborn babies, sick
Mhm.
newborn babies, and uh, it's the care of these people has improved greatly over the years. Uh,
Mhm.
that also allows the life expectancy of any country to increase, as it has in the
Right.
United States. But the other side of that same coin is that the average age goes down. The more people are older, the more babies there are to be had, and the lower the average age of the country. So while people get older, people also, on average, are getting younger. In Ghana, the average age is about 22, and the life expectancy has gone from 45 to 65 since the end
Mhm.
of World War II. So I
Right.
said, well, what would that look like in America? So I started writing it out. And
Mhm.
it, in order to tell the story as I want to tell it, I wound up having to write three books. And so the first
Well,
one is Outland Exile,
uh-huh.
and
Wow.
it introduces you to the major protagonist for parts, for all of the three
Mhm.
books, Malila Ivanova Chu,
Mhm.
who is middle aged.
Right.
That
Right.
is, she's 16, 17, 18 during
Mhm.
the process of the books, which take about 2 years.
Mhm.
Um, and she lives in a country, the east coast of the US, which
Mhm.
is a paradise. It's a utopia.
Right.
There's free healthcare,
Mhm.
full employment, um, computerless surfing of the nationwide core, really cheap recreational drugs, and everybody retires at 40 and then
Wow.
disappears.
So good to imagine if I am in that place.
Well, that's the point. They
Right.
disappear. Where do they go to?
Mhm.
The country also has a over a million man army in a
Mhm.
country that's only 110 million people.
Right.
Where did all those soldiers come from? Because nobody gets recruited.
Mhm.
There, if they fight a war, you know, they are dependent upon what they call CRNAs. My apologies to all nurses.
Right. Well, we're talking about science fiction here, Clark. From your experiences from one country to another, and for sure with the concept you have in mind, how artistic and imaginative it is. I've learned that you are a physician.
Yes.
What really made you turn this concept and experiences into writing and show it to your readers, Clark?
Because, well, primarily because the characters really got in under my skin.
Mm,
Within,
yeah.
it's absolutely true. Within 15 minutes of starting to write, I had both of the major characters fleshed out. One is Malila Ivanova Chu, who is this 17-year-old middle aged
Right.
individual, because if you retire at 40, 17 isn't very old. And the other
Exactly.
is a middle aged 76-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you live to be 170, 76 ain't much of a much. So uh, Malila lives in the utopia. Jesse, and surprisingly, is also a physician, lives in what they consider to be the outlands.
Mm-hmm.
Outland. Um, and they the East Coast, the Unity, the East Coast country, considers them not quite human. They probably can't read. They're barbarians. They undoubtedly are not
Uh-huh.
worth uh, the land they're living on. And so
Right.
they're always being invaded. Well,
Right.
Mila is sent for good and sufficient reasons that Malila is unaware of most of the time. She's sent to the outlands as
Mm-hmm.
punishment, and she's almost immediately captured by this middle-aged but elderly for her
Mm-hmm.
barbarian, and they then spend 6 weeks walking through this new wilderness trying to get back to what Jesse thinks to be civilization, which looks a lot like 19th century America.
Mm-hmm.
They're walking most of the way. They walk through devastated country. They are attacked by various kinds of beasties,
Mm-hmm.
including changed plants. They fight off slavers, and they fight off each other. Uh, Malila is trying very hard to kill Jesse, and Jesse is trying very hard not to kill Malila. Uh,
Wow.
Eventually, they arrive in an outpost of America, and Malila meets two people that she has never met before.
Wow.
One is a
That is
Vietnamese.
very well, learning the details from you, Clark, it's very enticing to really have your readers grab the three copies all together so they won't trail and have the cliffhanger and pointing out the story from one another. Now, this is just a political fiction, basing it to the story of Malila, wherein there was revenge and there was devastation from the story. What is really the moral lesson, or what do you want to imply to your readers as they read the book?
Well, one point, and I think it can't be made often enough, is that the age of the people listening to a story
Mm-hmm.
will predict their response to it. Young people who have no stories of their own, we
Mm.
we grow up learning about Brer Rabbit and um, you know Mary with her little lambs, and we have no concept of where that comes from. We have been told that, and we
Right.
the, as our own because the people telling us are our parents and we think they are looking out for us. What if there were no parents? And in the unity, there are no parents. Um, who's telling the stories now? People
Mhm.
who have an agenda. What if you're old? Well, you've done lots of things.
Mhm.
Jesse is described at one point as having done everything twice. Um,
Right. Double the age.
yeah, he's double the age, but he's also done everything. He's quite an accomplished guy.
Mhm.
Um, and the problem there, as I perceive, is that you have these narratives that you have, but you don't know which you're presented with a novel experience, and you automatically want to put it into a narrative that you already have. But you got
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
many narratives, where does it belong? So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. You
uh,
know, absolutely, Clark. Most of the time, social and political fiction is really something that only thought provocative people would really like to comment to. But, these are just basically a reasonable and rational stories wherein all of us can relate. All stages in life can relate. It is just fictionated and at the same time fabricated. But true to life, there is some stages in life that we can get to relate to it. Do you agree?
oh yeah, I mean, I the most of the science fiction aspects of this I had to write in to
Mm-hmm.
make the conflict between the nations believable.
Mm-hmm. True.
Um, so Malila, if I could, Malila has to be very ignorant at the beginning, or else it doesn't
Right.
work. Jesse has to be very knowledgeable, um,
Mm-hmm. The
and
opposite.
or else it doesn't
Right.
work. But Malila has all this hard work to do. She's got
Mm-hmm.
to learn a lot of stuff that she has no hook to hang it on. And Jesse has to somehow be sympathetic to this
Mm-hmm.
work in progress. And, she's trying to kill him, so it's not necessarily easy. Malila is a competent soldier. She has
Mm-hmm.
led men in battle. Um, and Jesse has too. But uh, she's what even as she is boasting of her accomplishments, Jesse is sitting back saying, "Hmm, you know,
Mm-hmm.
this kid needs a little seasoning, and
Right.
we'll do these things." But
Exactly.
but her big teachers are in fact um, a newborn baby and a new
Mm-hmm.
mother, because these are people she's never seen before. And
Mm-hmm.
so she's getting educated by those whom she has never considered as even human before.
Right, right. Wow, you're very into details for sure, Clark, about Malila and Jesse's story. And for sure, people out there really needs to have a copy of this book. Why? Because apart from it's fabricated and fictionated, there are also some part of the book that you can definitely relate to. Right, Clark? So
Oh,
I'd like.
absolutely. Yeah, I hope people see themselves in these books.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I hope they see other things. Um,
Yes. And can you show us a copy again of the book, Clark? Just for everyone's knowledge about the book then?
yeah,
There you have it. Well, so far, Clark, thank you. So far, Clark, you published your book with a huge success. For sure, your readers is loving it, and your future readers will love it more. Are you thinking of adding more sequel to the story then? Any plans
yeah.
to get it to start with?
Well, Malil, like I said, I thought this was going to be a short story.
Right, but look at this now.
It's three books, um, and the second book uh, starts where the other one finishes,
Mhm.
and it's called Outland Exile. The first book is really a coming of age and an enlightenment for Malila, and
Mhm.
the second book is very much a lot of people getting enlightened and all of them sort of getting close to each other, but not quite. um, meeting. Jesse is very much a cipher in the first book. You hardly hear him talk at all. Um,
Mhm.
in the second book, much of it is Jesse and gives you a large backstory of where he's come from, what he's been doing, why he's the way it is, why he's called the old man. He's 76. There are a lot of old, people in their 70s. Why is he
Mhm.
called the old man? Um, and why he's kind of revered by his country in a
Mhm.
time when lots of people are doing some very heroic stuff, but he's singled out. Um, so it is much of a story about the exile, Jesse Johnstone, because he's very much an exile of his own. The
Mhm.
exile, Malila Chu, because she's exiles herself,
Mhm.
and
Right.
how they don't meet up, but they get very close.
Exactly. 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 Thank you very much, Clark, then. And for sure, your readers will definitely be excited because you have several plans for the book. And as a matter of fact, you have the upcoming book signing for American Library Association.
Yes, indeed. That should
Wow.
be in about a week
Yes,
from
that's
when
going
we're
to be on June
doing this.
23rd and June 28th, 2022. Now, Clark, I'd like you to invite your readers to have a copy of the book, please. Where can they find it?
Barnes and Noble and Amazon. You can also get it from the publishers. The first book, Outland Exile, is
Mm-hmm.
published by iUniverse. The second book, which is Exile's Escape, is published by Indigo River Publishing, as well as
Mm-hmm.
the third book, which is Outland Exile. And that actually brings it home. That Jesse and Malila actually get to live happily ever after.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And I think
yeah.
and I think that's the most important part of the story. Regardless of how opposite things are, how cruel the world is, how positive we put it in a note, still at the end of the day, there's really something to learn in life, you know?
Well, one of the ongoing threads in the third book is only the wounded may heal. That
Mm.
you can only you can only help somebody if you have encountered loss yourself, um, and you can only help somebody who authentically needs help. Lots of people think they need help and they really need to, just figure it out on their own. And you shouldn't help them because otherwise they stay children for forever. Uh,
Absolutely.
so in the end, I have Jesse and one of the sentient plants of the Scorch, which is a,
Mhm.
a very strange place, healing each other. Um,
Absolutely.
very much in a Fisher King. It's a
Absolutely.
retelling of the Fisher King story.
Mhm. Well, thank you for sharing all about the book, Clark. We hear it with love and with passion as we all know the details, and for sure your readers will definitely love it. Clark, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it very much. Again, everyone, you can definitely have the copy of the book Outland Exile by Dr. Walter Clark Boutwell. You can have it in Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and see him in the upcoming ALA or American Library Association in Washington, D.C. this June 23 to June 28th, 2022. Clark, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of your day, sir.
Thank
Bye.
you. Right. Bye bye.
All right.